The Link Show is just about to start. If you want to be a part of The Link Show, head over to linkkids.com.au/live.
Today on The Link Show, we are starting a brand new series called My Way or God's Way.
We're also going to be starting a brand new challenge. Is it from the Bible or is it from a movie?
And we'll also be reading your shoutouts, all that and more. Let's get linked!
Woo!
If you listen, no. Big.
Welcome back to The Link Show, where we learn all about how much God loves us.
And we're gonna have some laughs along the way, which actually reminds me.
Yes.
What do you call a dentist that doesn't like tea?
Oh, Miguel, I don't know.
Dennis, because he doesn't like tea! Anyway.
Okay, surely you guys have some better jokes than that. Send them through to your shout-outs. And this term,
Dennis.
Buckle's going to be reading them all, so let's go hear them.
Hey, Buckle here, and I get to read your shoutouts again this week. We actually have a heap of shoutouts from different kids all saying, hey, Buckle, can you please come and visit our school at King's Christian College? Well, guys, fun fact, I am actually going to be coming and visiting all 3 King's locations in the last week of the term for your Created by Design, so stay tuned, that's going to be a blast. We have a shoutout here from Alexis saying, hey, Buckle, I love the Link Show, but please tell Miguel not to pick his nose with the fake hand. That was disgusting. I'm pretty sure he was scratching my chin with the fake hand as well. I agree, that was gross. Victoria says, the Under Construction series was hilarious, and I love that the last episode's challenge was so hard that no one could do it. Until Funny Man Dan did it in one take. I know, he definitely likes messing with Cece and Miguel. And lastly, we have Levi saying, everybody keep up the good work, don't give up. Thanks, Levi, we're not going to stop. We absolutely love making the Link Show. But hey, let's go check out Preach Part 1.
Hey Link Kids, Buckle here, and I want to tell you a story about a time where I did something my own way instead of following the instructions the proper way, because that's what this series is about. The series is called My Way versus God's Way, because the truth is, every single day we have to make a choice. Are we going to live our lives the way that we think is best based on what we know, or are we going to follow God's plan, which we can find in the Bible? And so I want to share with you a story where I decided to do things my own way instead of the way that I was meant to do them. And so for those of you that know me, I love computers, I love technology, I love everything that goes with that. And one of the things I loved doing when I was younger was getting any item or any toy that was electronic, pulling it apart, try to figure out how it worked, and then try to put it back together again. And so I had a computer that was given to me by a friend. It was an older computer, so I mean it could play most of the games that I wanted, but not some of the newer games. But the computer was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. They just didn't need it anymore. And so I got this computer and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to build computers. And so I progressed to pull the computer apart bit by bit, and they gave me all the manuals and all of the instructions. Like, they kept everything when they got this computer. So I pulled it all apart. I was looking at all the different bits, all the different cables, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and put this back together again without reading the instructions. And so I started putting piece in after piece where I thought they all went, and eventually I got to the end and there was this one cable that I hadn't plugged in, and I thought to myself, where does this go? I feel like this was meant to get plugged in a long time ago. So I'm looking around and I can't figure out where it's meant to go, but I saw some random pins poking up from one of the boards that they looked similar. They didn't look exactly the same, but they looked close enough. And so I thought to myself, I have a choice. I can either read the manual to figure out exactly where this is meant to go, or I think that's where it goes. I think I might be right. And so I tried to jam this cable onto these pins, and I started pushing and it was really tight. And I thought to myself, maybe this isn't the exact right spot. But then I thought, well, it was pretty hard to pull the cables out. So I reckon maybe I should stop. Maybe I should read the instructions. I thought, nah, I'll be fine. So I ended up jamming this power cable onto these random pins in the computer. I thought that I'd done everything right. I didn't bother to read the instructions. I plugged the computer in, I pressed the button, and I hear this almighty beep, and then out from the computer, a puff of smoke. So I ripped the power cable out of the wall and realized that I had done something wrong. Went through, finally read the instructions, and I did it very, very wrong. Not only that, I fried one of the pieces in this computer and I had to go buy a new one. It was expensive. You see, Sometimes doing things the way that they're meant to be done instead of our own way, it's harder. It's more time consuming. It takes more effort, more emotional input, because we don't just have a guess. We've got to take the time to read or to research or to find out what the correct answer is, to find what the right way is. And a little later on, I'm actually going to tell you a Bible story while we're sitting here on the couch about 12 people that were sent on a mission. 12 of them decided to think about the problem their own way, but 2 of them decided to see the problem as an opportunity because they were looking at it from God's way. And we're going to learn how we can make choices to live our own way or God's way, and the difference between the two, the good and what happens when we don't. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got a brand new challenge, and I'm so hopeful that it's not a video game. I can't do another video game.
I feel like whatever it is, I'm still alright. You know, I'll be good. I'm taking this thing out the park. Like, I'm taking it home. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But anyway. Lockie, tell us what we're doing today.
So this week, I'm gonna read out a quote to you guys, and you need to tell me if it's a quote from the Bible or from a movie.
I like
This will be
this.
fun.
This will be good. All right.
So we're just gonna grab one of these,
One says Bible.
and the other one says movie.
Amazing.
When you have the right answer, hide it face down in front of you, then you're gonna show it at the same time.
Yeah. You guys could actually play this at home or at school, wherever it is that you're watching. If you think it is a Bible quote, make a little Bible.
And if you think it's a movie quote, do a little movie. Your teacher or your leader will be watching. But Lockie, what's the first question?
All right, first quote. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, you meant to put it down. I'm meant to show it yet.
Oh.
All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Show us 3, 2, 1. And you're correct.
Hey! I held it
Yay!
upside down, but
Nice.
Bible. Yes.
There
All
we
right,
go.
next one.
Like so many things, it's not what's outside, but what's inside that counts.
Have you got?
And, oh,
Okay, we ready?
3, 2, 1,
she
go.
changed the answer because she saw.
No, I didn't.
That is correct.
Hey, what movie is it from?
That's from Aladdin.
I knew it.
Arabian Nights.
My head went, I can show you the world.
Next one is really short. I think you guys might get this.
Right.
Just keep swimming.
Hey!
Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's correct.
Yeah, Dory.
Right, that's
Yeah, Nemo. Get it.
All right, you guys are smashing this.
We are going to smash this series. I'm excited.
The next quote is, "For we live by faith, not by sight."
Oh, that's a Hillsong song.
That is the song.
But also,
But bro.
it also means.
We know what it means. You
In
ready?
3, 2, 1. It's from the Bible.
One way.
Last quote. This is the last one. "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it."
Yeah, buddy.
We did that, chapter.
It's one of my favorites.
3, 2, 1. You guys smashed it. 5 for 5.
Yes.
Woo!
High five.
There we go. Oh my goodness. Cece, why are you hitting me? Nah, that's it. We're getting the pillow next time to break
All right.
ourselves.
Sorry. Let's go to the Bible story.
Okay, so for today's story, I'm going to tell it to you instead of having it animated because I really just want to unpack what happens because there's a lot of nuance here. So up until this point, it's the story of Moses and the Israelites. And so if you remember from earlier series, the Israelites were slaves in Egypt. They'd been captive to the Pharaoh. They were being treated really poorly. God frees them. He saves them through this guy named Moses. And so they've escaped Egypt. They've had the miracle where God splits the Red Sea and they've crossed the Red Sea. They're coming towards the promised land. And so Moses decides to send some scouts ahead to see what is waiting for them. And so there's 12 tribes. And so he gets one man from each tribe. And so Moses gathers 12 men and says, I want you to go into the promised land, this place that God has planned for us. And I want you to scout it out. Go and find out what God has planned for us. And so these 12 men go. And they go on this mission. They're looking through the land. They're looking at all of these amazing things. This land, the Bible says, they describe it by saying it's flowing with milk and honey. In other words, this place is amazing. It has everything we could possibly need to not just survive, but to thrive. It talks about grapes that require 2 people on a pole to carry back. Like, we're talking about an abundance of blessing. This place is literally amazing. But then when they come back, out of the 12 men, 10 of them, instead of focusing on all these amazing promises that God has planned, they start complaining about the challenges. And instead of just saying it to Moses, they start saying it to all of the Israelites. They start complaining, saying, yes, there are some nice things, but there's giants in the land. The enemies there are numerous. There's so much challenge ahead of us. The people there, they know we're coming. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to be scary. And instead of focusing on the fact that every time they've had a challenge up until this point, God's done a miracle and he's made a way. He freed them from Egypt. He split the Red Sea. They had to do nothing except be obedient. God did all of the work for them. And then they see another challenge. And instead of remembering the good things that God's already done and then coming back and saying, yes, there's some challenges, but hey, it's all good because God has saved us before. He's going to save us again. No, they just focus on the problem. And the people start complaining and whinging and yelling and crying, and they're losing their mind. And they're saying, Moses, what have you done? Why have you brought us to another place to die again? But then these two guys, out of those 12 spies, there's two that stand up, Joshua and Caleb, and they say, what are you talking about? Have you not remembered the good things that God has done? Surely, if this is where God is taking us, he is going to make a way. They give a good report. You see, the 10 see the problem. They see it as a problem that they're going to have to deal with, and they put it in the too hard basket. They look at it in their own strength. They do it their own way. But these two guys, Joshua and Caleb, they see it as an opportunity for God's way to be fulfilled. And so they give a good report. Surely we can do this. Surely with God at our side, nothing is impossible. Be brave. We've got this. But instead, the people listen to their own way instead of God's way. And the Bible goes on to say that over the next 40 years, because this generation of men were too scared to trust God, they all spent 40 years wandering around in the wilderness when they could have crossed one boundary and put their trust in God and been in the promised land. You see, it's the same for us. There are challenges in our life. There are times when doing the right thing is hard, where speaking up for someone who's being picked on or being bullied can put you in a really awkward place, where doing things God's way instead of doing things our own way can put us in a situation where everyone else might ridicule you or call you names. But we have to make the choice. Are we going to be like those 10 spies that just see the problem and put everything in the too hard basket? Being kind, that's too hard. Standing up for people that aren't able to stick up for themselves, that's too hard. Doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing, that's too hard. Or are you going to be like Joshua and Caleb, who say, I don't care how hard it is. I remember the good things of the stories of our ancestors, that time after time after time, God did a miracle and he made a way where it seemed like there was no way. And so once again, I'm going to trust God and live his way. And so that's the choice that we have to make every single day. How are you going to live your life? Are you going to live your life your own way, with your own doubts, your own weaknesses, your own insecurities? Or will you choose to live God's way, where, yes, we still have doubts and weaknesses and insecurities, but we're not putting our trust in ourselves. Instead, we're putting our trust in God. So make a choice over the next 4 weeks. I'm really looking forward to this series. How will you live? Are you going to live your way, or are you going to live God's way?
We had so much fun today. I actually loved having a challenge that I did good in. It wasn't a video.
Yep, and if you missed any episodes, you can always go rewatch it back on our YouTube channel.
And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
But I'm Miguel,
And I'm Cece.
and we'll see you next time on
The Link Show. Bye.
See you later.